Hey, good evening once again. Tuesday night, the 9th of May. It's really good to see everyone here this evening. And I may mention it a little bit later on, but if you are watching this evening, thank you. Live, if you're watching later on, somebody mentioned on Friday that they watched later on in the week. Fine. In fact, I'm still getting messages today from stuff I did some months ago. That's really good to hear and to see. So, if you're watching, it'd be good if you have pen and paper with you to write something down if necessary. That'd be really good to do that. Just all right, okay. Hand pink waving. Thank you, sound engineer. At least that's one person. Yeah, so it's good to see you all this evening. Also to say welcome if you're watching it. If you're watching it at some other point in the week or the time. Again, I'm just getting messages today that from something I've done a few weeks, maybe even months, 6 weeks ago. So that's really good to see. Also, if you watch regularly and you make a comment, welcome. Really good to know that you're there. Thank you, Jeff. Really good to see you this evening. And those of you, the nameless individuals who watch each week, and perhaps let me know at some point that they do. Really great to see you. Good evening, Sonia, and anyone else. So yes, if you're watching, it might be good if you've got pen and paper, but if you've been doing this for a while, you should have your pad with you. So we'll be looking at civility over the last 2 weeks, and we'll be concluding some stuff this evening around civility. The reason, the context of civility is that in terms of the work that I do, and I work for myself, work for a whole range of organizations and also different organizations, but also meet different people. And there are some workplaces that are brilliant. They really are brilliant, but there's a lot of workplaces. I've got to say, they're not really interested in you, provided you can get the results. That's all they're interested in. Treatment's poor, conditions are poor, how people are treated. It's not very good at all. So that's what's triggered me to talk about civility. So civility is really courtesy, politeness in behavior and speech. And listen, if you're working with somebody, if they don't look like you or sound like you're a different gender, I'll say this: every human being wants to be treated with respect and dignity. Every human being, even if they can't, even if English is not their first language, every human being wants to be treated with dignity and respect. That's just kind of natural and it's standard, and we should have that in our workplaces as well. So we looked at some of the things around civility, looked at some of the fundamentals. We looked at incivility, the damage that does to work, to relationships, to trust, to health. We looked at all that, and today we're going to be looking at some of the skills. So my name is Delroy Hall. I'm a trained counsellor and teacher and lecturer. I've been over 3 decades now, and started this broadcast during the first lockdown, and 3 years on, I'm still here. Didn't think I'd be doing it, but here we are. This is what I'm doing. I'm really enjoying it, and certainly individuals kind of getting to know what I do. I think I'm going to have to do a few changes, but I'll keep us informed with what's going to happen. So the whole thing around civility is what they call soft skills. And believe it or not, a few days ago on Radio 4, they were talking about soft skills. They were saying that only recently soft skills have been introduced in the workplace. So soft skills, I'll say what soft skills are. I'll read out a definition because we talk about soft skills, but only in the last few years. At one time, business was about driving people. Even you hear it today, you hear it in politics, about driving things, driving vision. That's not leadership. Leadership is about leading people. You don't drive people. That word drive came from the Thatcher era, and it's still in our language, it's still in our thinking, this whole thing around driving people. You don't drive people, you drive cattle, you lead people. Good evening, Claire, aka Pepper. So civility is a soft skill. And in some cultures, soft skills not taken seriously. I did just as an aside, during the first lockdown, I did some work online in Lagos, Nigeria. And when I spoke about this whole thing about psychological care and so forth, I was told by the chief medical officer, the soft skills, he said, you're reminding us how important they are, but we don't take them seriously. This was back in the first lockdown when I did some work online. So soft skill Loads of definitions. But here's this: soft skills are skills that cannot be learned theoretically, but have to be experienced and practiced to become better. So we can't learn soft skills theoretically. In fact, the place where we really should learn soft skills in our home when we've kind of been raised as children. Soft skills, also soft skill depends on attitude, mindset, life experience. So those soft skills, those people interaction, those people skills, as we call them, soft skills, they can't be learned by reading a book, but they're learned by experience, by attitude, and the mindset that we have. Really, really important. Also, I'll just say this, that civility or soft skill is one of the most overlooked skill in the 21st century. Again, lots of us are working in places. It's results, it's outcomes, targets, all that type of thing, and the managers there cracking the whip for you to get these things. But actually, it's the most important, it's the most overlooked skill in the 21st century. But it is so needed. And you may say to me, well, Delroy, I work for an organization that's really difficult. If you're a leader or a manager, the great thing about it, of course, is that you can create a real good space in your office or your department. It's all down to you in terms of leadership. I'm going to let us know how we can do that. So, civility, considered a major problem in the States, and I suspect considered a major problem here. I remember talking to somebody some time ago, and they said the university had a consultant in, spent thousands of pounds on a consultant looking at staff surveys and all the rest of it. And one of the things that came out of it was that this university, amongst the staff, there was lots of bullying. So that's not good at all. In fact, it reminds me, as we talk about civility, a friend of mine, she's no longer within the university field, but she was attending a meeting with her dean, kind of quite high up in the school, and the student rep. And he was a bit, the dean was a bit of a kind of not so much no nonsense, but very bullish and treated people very aggressively. And during the meeting, the students rep put the hand up and said, "Can I say something?" And he said, "Yes." And he just asked one question: "Is this how you treat your people?" That's a brave individual who said that to a dean. And my friend said within half an hour after the meeting ended, the dean sent an email of apology. For me, he should have done it in the meeting where he insulted people, but that's another situation for another time. So, major problem in the States, and I suspect a major problem here in the UK. As an article that you can certainly look online, I just got a lot from it, is Civility Dead in America by Thomas Plant. And these are some of the things that's really important in terms of developing, you might have heard me right, towards civility. It means that we're not there yet. So we're on a journey. We can actually get there, but we're not there at the moment. So towards civility, one of the things for me, he doesn't write about this, but one of the things that can really help civility is being able to listen to other people. That's really, really important. Listening is a great skill to develop. When I've done training courses in time past, some folks haven't gone on to do counseling skills, but the ability to listen is worth its weight in gold. So ability to listen, really important. Also, Thomas says, one of the things about civility, think before you speak. Oh my gosh, how many of us have said stuff, and then when it's come out of our mouth, we think, oh my gosh, why did I say that? We've all been there. And the way around that, of course, is that if you do something, you realize you've made a mistake, jump on it straight away and apologize. Obviously, you can't take the words back, but you can apologize. So think before you speak. And also, he says, focus on the facts rather than beliefs or opinions. That has really helped me in time past in terms of listening to the story and finding out what the facts are before you make a decision. Oh my gosh, that has saved me many an argument, many misunderstanding, many jumping in with both feet and upsetting people and creating more mess than the original thing. So this whole thing, find out what focus on the facts rather than beliefs and opinions. That's important. Good evening, Norma and Kelly, I'm not just saying this, but oh right, okay, right. I just put it up there. All right, right. It caught me off guard there. I just put it up there because it's a statement and I want everybody to see it, and I didn't realise it was. Yeah, thank you very much indeed. I do try. I really do try. I remember going once to my doctor's in my early 40s, and I was in a bit of a state actually. And doctors only have 4 minutes. Well, 45 minutes later, I was walking out the surgery. Never forgotten it. I wasn't suicidal, but I was just stressed out, really, really stressed out. My doctor, Paul, I can't remember his last name now, but he came to medicine late on in life, but he was an excellent doctor, Scottish guy, I think he was. He was brilliant. Yeah, excellent. So yeah, good evening, Norma. For those who are listening, anyway, the whole thing around listening, do not underestimate how valuable it is. Listening alone can be healing for people. It really, really can be. Just so people can offload, can vent, can share that, pour out the heart, whatever word we want to describe. The ability to listen to people is really, really important. I've been listened to because I've had times in my life I've been listened to, and it's been, they weren't able to offer any solutions, but just being able to talk and being able to listen without being judged or condemned or criticized. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So think before you speak, focus on the facts more than beliefs and opinions. Not focus on the common good rather than the individual agendas. Sometimes we can get caught up with individual agendas, but we really need to focus on the common good. So in a team of individuals, why are we here? Why this organization employed us to do what? So it's to focus on the big picture. What's the common ground here, and not individual agendas. That's really important. The other thing he said that's very important for civility, and I would agree with him, disagree respectfully. It's really important that not everything I say is right, not everything that other people say is wrong. So it's the ability to disagree respectfully. You can say to individuals, you know what, I can see it, but that's not my understanding. There are ways, and believe you me, some of the work I've done over the years with individuals, they weren't the easiest of individuals, but you can disagree respectfully. You don't have to raise your voice, you don't have to be rude, but you can say to somebody, I hear you, I understand what you're saying, but I do not agree with that point of view. And in fact, I think one of the things we said, that one of the things we need to look at sometimes, if the relationship is worth saving, we don't jump in with both feet and both barrels blazing. We think about what the person has said, and we think about our response to them. Really, really important. So disagree respectfully. Openness to others without hostility. It's really important. And if you're a manager or a leader, that one of the ways of kind of developing psychological safety, this whole belief that people feel that they won't be disciplined or sacked or suspended because they've made a mistake. This whole thing about openness to others without hostility, that's incredibly important, because actually at the end of the day, with your workforce, what it's about relationships. So openness to others without hostility, because really you want the best out of people. So it can be done. I've seen it, and it can be done. And also in terms of civility, respectful of diverse views. Listen, you've got a whole group of people working with, and all of us have got different views, but it doesn't mean to say that the views are wrong, but you are respectful to a diverse understanding of the world and how people see things. Really important. And he also says a spirit of collegiality. That means a companionship between colleagues. How many of us have worked in places, been in situations or a team whereby there's a kind of companionship? You get stuff done, even though it might be hard and a bit difficult. I recall some of my work when I was doing regional stuff. When we met together, we got decisions were made really, really quickly. And in fact, sometimes when we work together, guys would meet up and they'd discuss problems, and I would hear them at the meeting. So there's this kind of this companionship between colleagues. Absolutely important. If you're in a workplace and as soon as you walk into you finish, your nose is at the grindstone. Of course, if you're in kind of mechanical engineering and sheet metal work, your nose might be near the ground, the grindstone. But ordinarily, those places where you're kind of driven to do the work, not really helpful. I think this whole thing around collegiality, I may have mentioned how I met my best friend many years ago. His name is Delroy. He's a Baptist minister in America, originally from Jamaica. And when we were doing our studies together, he was saying some stuff, and we really kind of got onto his case. We really did. We roughed him up. And he wasn't saying anything wrong, but we just kind of roughed him up. And I remember I was kind of watching what was going on, and I thought, why is he saying this? And I just asked the question. I said, can I ask you, what makes you say this? I can't even remember what it was now. And he just explained himself. And I thought, yeah, that's fine for me. And everybody else continued attacking him. And then after our 2-hour meeting, we started to talk outside, and then we exchanged phone numbers. And then he was studying, and he was from America, studying in Birmingham, and he lodged at a particular place. And one day when we finished, he invited me back for food, and that's how we that's how we became best friends. And his wife, when I went to America to meet him, his wife once said to me, she said, if she ever lost her husband in England, all she would do is phone me, because she know that he'd be next to me. Now, nothing's carrying on, let me just assure you. But we became really close. And it started off by me just simply asking the question, why did he say that? And his explanation was fine for me, wasn't fine for other people, fine for me, and we became really good friends. So this whole thing is the spirit of collegiality, really important. Also, one of the things that we can do that's really in terms of civility is offering productive and positive feedback. That's really helpful, and you can even offer feedback in a way that's actually critiquing the person's work but helping them to develop. So you don't say to people, well, that's rubbish. There's a friend of mine, he started writing a book, brilliant storyline, absolutely excellent. And he gave it to somebody who'd written 6 books, not of his genre. And this guy just trounced my friend's work. And you know what? This must be about 15 years now. My friend has never, ever gone back to the manuscript. And when I talked, now this guy is not in his 20s, he's now nearly 60. And when I talk about the book, his whole demeanor changed, his body language changes, because the experience just crushed him, and he's never, ever gone back to the manuscript. So you can offer feedback in a way that's really helpful for people and not destructive. It's really important. I remember there's a particular manager, she's no longer at the university where I work, she left recently, and we spoke about the type of leadership and management that happens in lots of places. And when she sees bad behavior or incivility, or people being uncivil, she doesn't leave it. She asks questions like, how was that helpful? How was that encouraging? How was that considerate? So she doesn't jump on people, but then she just asks questions. That interaction there and what you just did, how was that helpful? How was that kind? How was that considerate? So what happens is helping people to reflect on their behavior without jumping on them, saying you shouldn't have done that, you're wrong, all that type of business doesn't really help at all. But asking those questions, helping people to reflect on their behavior, it's really important that they can see themselves through the questions in which you ask. Okay, we're going to be landing in a few minutes. So please, if there's any comments and questions, and if you're still taking notes, great. If you want me to go over something again, please do. But yeah, so I'm here to share stuff. At least you can get something from it. If you're a manager or a leader, or somebody is, forward them this broadcast, if you think it'll help them, make sure they've got pen and paper and they can start writing stuff down. But more importantly, putting the stuff into practice. Even if it's one thing, you start focusing on it over the next week, the next month, next 2 or 3 months, it'll make a difference to how you do your management work or your leadership work, or even just in terms of being a better work colleague. Really important. So how can we, how can we continue creating this great work environment? Listen, you can have all the structures in place. You can have employee assistance program. You can have water fountains, all the rest of it. But you know what? If the interpersonal stuff is not there in your place of work, that's it. It's just not going to work. So the best possible work environment, soft skills in the workplace with hard results. Soft skills, hard results. A guy called Stephen Paskoff, it talks about this, how we can create a workplace. Now, let me just, before I start embarrassing myself. Okay. Oh, let me just, I used to be a Holland manager. When I went back into the shop after leaving, all the girls saying they wish I go out as the new manager, never listen to them and rule with a rod of iron. Yeah, it doesn't go down well at all. That ruling with a rod of iron, quite often that's based in insecurity. People are insecure, and in fact, lots of managers and leaders start off that way. But if you grow into the role, you grow into becoming a better leader, better manager, you will learn pretty quickly. If you want the best, teasing out the best of your workforce, you really do need to listen to them. It's really, really important. Even if you disagree, you can disagree respectfully. You don't have to be hostile. You don't have to be brutish. You don't have to be bullish. You don't ever have to say, look, I'm the boss. I've only ever had to say that once. In fact, I never said that in the various leadership roles that I had. I never said that to anybody. I'm the boss. I'm the leader. If you keep having to say that to people, you've lost it. You really have lost it. You should not have to say that to anybody. They know you are, and you just have to act in a way that is the manager or the leader or the supervisor or the team leader. You don't need to tell people. You really, really don't. So how are we going to create this work environment then? In a work environment whereby you make the most out of human capital. And civility is an approach, not procedures and methods and strategies and techniques. Civility is like that invisible glue. I need to ask some of the places I go whether they have a policy on civility. I suspect not, but civility is really important. It's the glue that holds things together in a cohesive and positive way. It is really, really important. So when we create the environment with civility, employees can concentrate and perform at their best. That's what we want. That's if you're an employer, you want your employees to do their best and to concentrate and to perform at a high level without having to drive them and to be cracking the whip over them. Employees then are not distracted by behaviors hindering creativity and productivity. I don't know about anybody else. I don't like to be micromanaged. If you want to get me angry and irritated, you start micromanaging me. I've never liked it. I've never micromanaged anybody. I really don't like micromanaging whatsoever. It's not good. It's not healthy. Again, that's born out of insecurity and maybe leaders wanting to know, well, a leader wouldn't micromanage. It's as simple as that. But individuals wanting to know everything you're doing, and you can't make a decision without speaking to them first. No, that's exhausting, and it doesn't bring the best out of you, and actually it's soul destroying. Not good at all. So civility, you care about the work and the employee. So the manager, the leader, the employer, the organization, if you have civility in the workplace, you care about the work and the employee. And what happens with civility, people act with the basic rules that are there within the workplace. If the environment is right, people don't really kind of cross the line, you know. And if they do, because of the relationship, they know that they have, and they'll step back. Human nature in one sense is kind of predictable. It really gets me, you know, when I hear of really bad management and leadership. And I've said to individuals, you might have heard me say it on here before. it's not as if we've just learnt about management or leadership. We've been doing it for centuries. And it's somehow, it's as though, I think I heard somebody say, Delroy, how could we get this so wrong? You're just treating people badly. How can you get it so wrong? You keep treating people badly. And if you keep treating people badly, you will get the worst out of them. That's just who we are. Now, of course, with civility, there'll always be one or two who will try to, kind of step over the line a little bit, and maybe abuse the situation. But most people don't do that. It's just one or two that will kind of try it on. So care about work employee, you act in line with basic rules and conduct. Also, the thing about a civil environment, that people will speak up and share their ideas and concern, because they know that in an environment they'll not be ridiculed, condemned, or criticized. Now, if you as a leader and manager, you have your team meetings and you can get that where people, the quietest of individuals, is able to offer their thoughts, perspective, that is an amazing feat, that you can get information from individuals. Just absolutely great. And if you're listening today and that's what you're striving for, I tell you to keep striving for it, because it will happen. The most quietest, most insecure, most introvert individual, when you have a team meeting, if the environment is one of civility, psychological safety as well, you will get the best out of your people. And I want to encourage you, keep moving on in that direction. When there's an environment of civility, this is what will happen. Problems are worked out far quicker. There's a high level of trust. People will say things, they will contribute, and solutions will arrive a lot quicker. When I was involved in regional work, a lot of the ideas that made our events special and brilliant didn't come from me. They came from the people who had ideas, and I had kind of team of managers around me, and heard this idea, and I said, "No, that's an interesting idea. What do you all think about it?" And it was pitched in. And so many of the ideas to make our conferences good never came from me at all. All I did as a leader was I allowed it to happen, because there was a high level of trust. There was people knew they could talk without being dismissed, and I would listen to what they had to say. If they had some concerns, I might suggest what the concerns were, but together as a group, we really kind of got things done. So that's really important. We got things sorted out really, really quickly. And one of the things I did, that when I used to go to national meetings and I used to hear what was going on in other districts, I would come back, and when I speak to the pastors, I thank them for how we worked together. And when we had our conferences, I asked them to publicly stand up, and I asked the region to applaud them for all the work that they've done. They were great individuals. Yes, people need to feel that it is a safe place, that they'll not be judged. Absolutely. And in fact, thank you for that, Norma. One of the things, of course, as a leader and manager, you're sitting on an untapped reservoir with your people. So your people come with skill, not just to do the work, but your people have got skills from other backgrounds, from other cultures, from other families, from other parts of the world. And if you provide that space for them, they will bring it into the pot. All of us, I said right at the beginning, all of us want to be treated with respect and dignity. All of us as human beings want to know that we're accepted and we feel that we belong. But in fact, if you as a manager or a leader do not create that space, people with really, really good ideas that could make the business, let the business go further, make more profit, they'll keep the ideas to themselves, because you've not allowed this situation to this kind of environment to take place. Yes, so okay, so, and also the final thing really in terms of civility, Stephen Paskov says this, that when you've got this environment of civility, people are treated based on merit, accomplishment, skill, and talent. So basically, you value people. And sometimes some individuals, I'm talking to somebody at the moment, and the individual's got some really good ideas, but some of the individuals, they need capacity building. So then it's not about kind of getting rid of them, but actually what training can. So training, supervision, and evaluation. I tell you that if you have somebody who's teachable, and if you put these three things in place, training, supervision, and evaluation, and I don't mean occasionally, regularly. Now, it's time demanding to start off with, but individuals will start to grow and develop, and you'll see they'll grow in confidence, they'll grow in skill, they'll grow in talent, and so forth. And at some point you look back and you think, my gosh, how this person has developed and grown. It's really important to see. And those any of you that may be silently watching, you might say, Dilroyce, gosh, where we are as a team, and look, you're saying some good stuff here, but you know what? I just don't know where to start. Listen, I say to you, find a little place to start. You can't do it all. Find one place to start and just keep working at it. If you keep working at something today, in 3 or 4 months' time, things might be slightly better. And if it's slightly better and you keep working at it, it can get better still. So look at the big picture. What bit can you tackle first? And start with that. And it could be that you've inherited a legacy. I've been there. You've inherited something that's been going on for 30, 40, 50 years. It's gone in a particular direction, but you can reshape it. You can put it in a new direction on how you treat people in the whole thing around civility. Absolutely important. Anyway, there you have it. Civility, it's politeness, treating people well. That's it, treating people well. And remember, it's not a hard skill that you can learn by reading a book, but you do it, you practice it, and the more and more you practice it, the better you become. So civility, really, really important. If you know that you've got a manager or a leader or somebody, in fact, you know, they're really good, but actually, yeah, they're really good. But I think for me, you can't have too much knowledge, be exposed to something else. If you think that this will be useful, share it with them and let me know what they think. So that's it. It's half an hour. I've taken 2 minutes of your time. Thank you very much indeed for tuning in, either live or later on. And I'll see you next Tuesday with a new topic. Looking forward to it. And I'll see you then. Enjoy the rest. Enjoy your evening and enjoy the rest of your week. And guess what? The sun's out. It's got some warmth in it. So summer might be on its way yet. All right. Take care. Wish you well. Speak to you soon. All the best. Bye-bye.